bread, butter, chocolate sprinkles. Believe it or not, all these ingredients make for a wonderful breakfast food. I remember when I was little and would spend the night at my Oma's, and the first thing I would do when I would wake up is get a special treat of sprinkles on toast. It was such a treat because I only had it at her house, and I'd always thought that she made this recipe up, or that it was an original Indonesian breakfast. But it turns out that the sugary breakfast treat is actually a product of the Netherlands, adopted in Indonesia as a result of Dutch colonization. Now, obviously, the history of colonization in Indonesia is not as pretty as sprinkles on toast. Many countries have colonized Indonesia to control the spice trade, starting with the Portuguese in the 1500s, the Dutch in the 16th century, the British in the 1800s, and the Japanese during World War II. But the long colonial period of the Dutch occupation, who left over 300 years of influence, impacted our food greatly, as well as all aspects of Indonesian life. Chilies, potatoes, pumpkins, tomatoes, cabbage, cauliflower, and carrots. All products brought to Indonesia by the Spanish and Portuguese, which are included in many Indonesian dishes today. Rijsttafel, a Dutch word for rice table. It describes the extravagant buffet-style setup of rice plates and other dishes all together. Rice is the key and the base to most Indonesian meals. Rijsttafel includes rice plates among savory dishes like meat, fish, or veggies, as well as sides like keropok or tempeh. The components of food of Rijsttafel is not a product of Dutch colonization, but the act and process of serving this grand setup of food was introduced by the Dutch. They regarded Rijsttafel for high-status people and events, and now it is adopted in Indonesia as a daily dining practice. Here's me with my family helping set up a Rijsttafel for a relative's birthday party. Coconuts, flour, milk, sugar, eggs, butter, raisins, and cinnamon. Mix these all together at 320 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes, and you have KAPWA, which means coconut cake, a recipe created experimentally by the Dutch that occupied the city of Manado of the Sulawesi Island, Indonesia. This sweet and savory cake is a result of the recipe created by Dutch women who took advantage of the abundant coconut farms native to Manado, adding this to their tart recipes. And now for my favorite. Oma actually just made these for me, and it was filled to the brim with nostart, but now only 4 are left because of how much I love these pineapple-filled cookies. Another cookie of flour, butter, sugar, and eggs. This cookie recipe is Dutch, inspired by a European pie that actually contains strawberry, blueberry, or apple jam. But in Indonesia, where these fruits are not foreign, pineapple jam was used instead. Eating these are an addiction, to say the least. You may notice that these sweet treats all have a common ingredient, which is flour and milk. Both of these goods were not foreign to Indonesia, and their importance in Indonesian cuisine is a direct influence from the Dutch during the 18th century. More Dutch-influenced dishes include semur, a stew made from meat or tofu, braised in a sweet soy sauce and spices, castinho, another cookie that is crispy and buttery, made with cheese, and macaroni skotel, which is an Indonesian version of baked mac and cheese. These are now popular dishes in Indonesia as a result of more Dutch cultural exchanges. As I am still learning a lot about my ethnicity and cultural identity, the food of Indonesia is something that I've always been proudly connected to, most of which are dear to me in my childhood, despite many of these foods being a result of colonization. From oppression and negativity, there is pride and appreciation, and a full belly.